and listen to this as if I'm speaking and giving advice to someone else. So we are detached from the information. Therefore, we are able to listen to everything that is occurring in the present moment. If there is someone else I'm giving advice to, the emotional charge is eliminated. You are not attached to or detached to the advice I'm about to give you. If you are emotional and you're responding either positively or negatively, you are now not listening to me. You're often running into a pondering of direction of how you can change that positive thing to enhance your life, or how you can avoid it and stop it from happening. This is why I'm asking you to actively step outside of yourself for a moment and let us both, you and I, look at Richard down on the earth. So I'm asking higher Richard to join me as we talk about Rover Richard. So who is Rover Richard? Rover Richard is our lower aspect of our higher self. It is the rover on Mars. It's this cute, delightful little robotic creature that is sent way far away from its original source to explore new lands. Mars, a red planet, desolate and sometimes cold. And it gets there and it wakes up after its landing, like its birth of Richard. And it roams around Mars, feeling like it doesn't really maybe belong there, feeling like there's a disconnect, wondering why and where it came from. It ponders and absorbs as much as it can information from the planet, but it is a self-governing operating system. As Mars is far from Earth, there are procedures, routines, and programs that cannot be directly controlled by NASA. Now NASA has installed a computer chip that is somewhat limiting compared to who you truly are. But it gets the job done for some set amount of years or a time before it is to reconnect to its higher computer source, which is NASA. NASA, of course, being your higher self. We all come to Earth, including myself, not even understanding who or what I am. The more advanced you are with your evolutional process, you have an inkling or a strong feeling that you quite put your finger on it. You may feel different from the other rovers that are around you. You might be inclined to think about places like Florida or Nassau, but not really knowing they exist, where the other rovers could care less about Florida or Nassau. They're happy tooling around, enjoying Mars, thinking that that is all there is. And that is perfectly fine, and it is their evolutional path at that juncture. But you, and few of you on Mars, feel a longing, a sensation, a longing to belong to a tribe, to your peoples, your family, but yet it seems this disconnect continually drives you for something you can't quite put your finger on. When you've explored everything you can in Mars, and you feel like you're ready to move on, then miraculously through grace, the connection is restored. Now, technically, Mars and Earth, during the radio receiving and reception of the rover, is a very short period of time. And the computer chip is then to slowly dissolve itself and connect to its higher self, where it has many more routines and many more informational programs it can download to the rover to actually experience a deeper understanding of Mars. Meanwhile, you also have a deeper understanding of where you came from Florida and NASA. But as the rover has grown accustomed to making all of its decisions in the little computer chip that it thinks it is, there is a time of transferal and a time of feeling comfortable, perhaps taking orders or communication from a higher source. This is free will to connect in any type of level that you feel comfortable at. It is not here to intimidate you or frustrate you. It is here to guide you. But I will tell you, the computer system in NASA is highly sophisticated. The operating system is like comparing DOS to Windows 2400, which hasn't been quite made yet. It's quite a bit better than Microsoft products, I can tell you that. But DOS to even Windows is quite a leap. And the information that is downloading to you will take some time to complete. As an hourglass tipped upside down, its sand trickles slowly to its opposite chamber. That is, the sand is power and knowledge. Wisdom comes trickling through slowly. The story is not complete. The inspirations have started, but it is a process that takes patience. It is perfect the way it is, and it is nothing that we, the masters, have created. Everything has already been created. Infinite possibilities have existed since God said, "Let there be light." It is now us to channel that truth through our vessels, and that is done through chaos, which was a beautiful word long ago, but now it is the mind's worst enemy and feels that there must be some type of order to organize that chaos. But it is not true. Chaos is what the universe is, and it does it perfectly, much better than the mind trying to organize infinity. How can the mind organize infinity when it does not even understand infinity? It is a limiting operating system that is not able to compute it. The new operating system that you are connecting to can compute it because it doesn't try to compute it. It is it. You will never be satisfied with the limiting operating system to understand infinity. You must discard it someday when you are comfortable with that. There is no why in higher mind. There just is. And all the intellectual, philosophical communication that you have inside your head is exhausting without answers. Discernment is its responsibility, not to figure out the big why questions when there is no why. Why is only created from the limited mind trying to understand infinity. To understand infinity, stop asking why and merge with the now and silence. This is higher truth and higher mind. It communicates in quite a different operating system. It is not through intellect, language. It is through imagery, sensations, and what feels like emotions, but much more sophisticated, as emotions can steer you off course. Emotions can be attracting or repulsive to you. This is the cornerstone of Buddhism, that we are not easily led off course by attraction nor repulsion. We are observing what is, knowing it is perfect at every moment, and we are learning by being open and receptive to what life is trying to teach you in the now. The more you have practice, the more you will perfect it. This is an art, a science of mind, but not of the mind of limited understanding that always asks why. The best way to find out that is to stop asking and merge with the silence of now. And then in that peace and that power of no thoughts, wisdom is at complete command. Not needing to know why or how it works, it just does. And eventually you stop asking why, and you enjoy life for once, rather than picking it apart, filtering it out with the why mind. These are deep Buddhist and advanced concepts that lead you into who are you, Richard? What will I be if I wake up? That is the song I played for you. Who will I be if I wake up? Where will I return? Well, you will return to the source that you've always been, but this time with quite a different outlook on reality. You were coming from the source that always was. There was a beginning, but not as you think. God is always and always will be. But Richard's journey started at some time. A piece of what was and always will be broke itself off and sent you down into a journey. A separation from what you were to learn what you were not. In learning what you're not, which is love, you learn to love more. In learning what is not love, you respect and understand and can see what love is. God is so mysterious. We will never understand that chaos. We only are its eternal dwelling lover. And we let it be that eternal mystery. But there is no end to evolution. God loves itself so much, it decided to have companions of some sort and sent you on a journey to become God itself. You are learning how to be God, but first you must learn what it is not to be God. When you've exhausted that path, you will turn slowly around and go towards the direction of where you came from. But you will not merge as you think by losing complete identity of who you are. That is the ego's fear. You return to the source as a complete singularity of the divine itself. And then the partnership you have with your lover is impeccability and perfection. There you must decide whether or how you will serve yourself by going out and becoming a god, or working perhaps for a family of gods. But this is impossible really to describe, so I try best I can to use word pictures for you to understand it. And it is really not of anyone's concern at this point. It is silly to think of a baby trying to explain to it what it will be like when it is a professor of quantum physics. I'm a graduate and professor of quantum physics and beyond as I continue evolving. And humility is an understanding that you are all babies. Humility is what creates enlightenment. Once you start forgetting that you are a child of God and that you are not humble, then you will stop learning and go towards the disconnection of the source that you are. Humility and purity are the most important things towards the pathway into enlightenment. This is a deeper understanding of where you came from and where you are to head. And you have infinity to decide how long that will take you. There are many pathways to enlightenment. My pathway is quite fast. There are people that need structure. They feel more towards the king's path, the father's path of hierarchy. This is a school-like structure that mind created. But my path is more of the heart. But we insist on diamond mind as well. But the heart is a wild card in the universe. But you have to have much courage to take this path. And it is quite turbulent sometimes for the mind to write out its course. It is complete surrender to the mother, as she may quicken your enlightenment. It is also more responsibility as you experience that quickening. There are times you will have me as your teacher, and then there are times that you did not. But life is your teacher. That is for certain. I will come and go, guiding you when necessary. But one person or being or thing, you can personalize it all you want, but it's a mystery, is that I speak is life itself. This is the true teacher, as you've already known. Trust it. There's no mistakes in God's perfect world if that intention is clear in your head. Know that in this perfect now space, there is a lesson to be learned. And be grateful in that, not avoiding or getting off course by being attracted to desires that you may have, but let God bring you what will make you happy. Being present in suffering then only creates pain. Pain is unavoidable. Suffering is of the mind not accepting pain. Enlightened masters have more pain than most people understand. We are limited to our bodies as well. We are having the human experience, but fully aware. Not only that, but we take on the negative energies from humanity and have to transmute that lead into gold through our bodies. It is not comfortable. Buddhist etiquette is a method of respect, maybe not understanding the subtleties and sophistications of this complicated science of alchemy, but it is an understanding and respect to treat these beings in a certain way that they can conduct their job. So it is the concept of help them help you, because that is the only reason why they're here, and they want nothing from you. But it is etiquette to provide those teachers as much as possible so they can actually help you better. If you do not feel that this is true, there is no clause in any contract whatsoever to stay by the teacher. It is truth. This is Dharma. There's only one truth, Richard. It is the universal law of this matrix you are dreaming in. This truth is that it is based on love, of course. That the division of the truth got separated into 7 separate religions each chakra being its own religion. The divisions are so silly to the enlightened masters, as they know this time would happen in the darker times. All 7 religions will unite now the cycle is completed. But humanity does not understand the greater picture of infinity. Therefore, they are taking their individual religions and fighting against each other, not understanding it is all 7 religions put together that creates the law of one. The law of one is the truth. It is the Dharma. And it has always been, and it always will be in creation, until this creation of infinity ends. Now that sounds like a catch-22, but in limited mind, it is. But yet it is the truth that this creation, that is infinity in both directions, will end, and something new will replace it. This is an understanding of fractal, macro, micro, cosmic relationships. This is against a little advanced. And it is humility that makes you be able to learn it down the road. It is resistance of frustration, not feeling like you are like a child or a baby again. Lucky you, I say. Lucky you. Don't fight it. Be excited by it. Children have no resistance being children. It's an exciting time. Why do you resist being a child once again? You will be a teacher, but how can you teach if you're not always a child? Be a child of God, and you'll be the best teacher, because people will see you shine. People will see you glow, as you do when you're not in resistance. So treat this no differently, my friend. No, this is an invitation to a long pathway of being a teacher, my friend. You're already a teacher. You've always been a teacher. You're now just upgrading your operating system. To upgrade this quickly, relax and go with the way that is taught to you, as opposed to Ramamiji's example last night, as he was taking a knife to his laptop, not following direction. Now you can do it both ways. You can delay the process and stab your laptop to death, and perhaps break it. Or you can relax and let the truth come to tell you perhaps directions are necessary, as your psychic abilities are not helping you or assisting you in your laptop upgrades. Sometimes just good old plain common sense goes a long ways. That was a message from Ramamiji, but it is something that you should listen to as well. Let someone else drive your vehicle. Take direction. Trust the process. Do you really think you're such a bad person, such an evil person, that life would lead you to me? How bad do you think I possibly can be? Am I Jesus Christ? Am I Rama? Yes, I am both, in the highest sense of the reality. But as we trickle down from the source that we all are, we go into divisions and flavors of God. These are where the gods come from, all the gods of Hinduism. But Jesus, or Jesus, Joshua, they call by many. It's a dear friend of mine. Go ahead, ask him. He'll tell you. This is very good to use discernment and question reality. But on a high level, this is called pondering. On a lower level, it's incessive thoughts of why that will never be answered, and it will be draining to you. Know the difference, and know to control your mind, Richard. It is your best friend and worst enemy. It is a very powerful system that can turn against you and others, or work for you and work for others. But how do you do this? It is the governing of the heart that I spoke of during your Buddha board readings. It is the opening of a new operating system. It is very foreign and will take some time. It is practice, and there are places that are better to study this. On the beaches of crowded distractions, I would say not such a good place to do homework. And the sanctuary and cathedrals of nature is most conducive for this study. I give you suggestions. You must take them if you want to be a teacher. You must first be the student. If you don't want to be a student, then good luck with your teaching. There's only one law. It is the law of one. All masters speak of the same law. We have different pathways to get to that law, but that law is not even a law when you're there. It is not a rule to follow. It is absolute spontaneity of who you are, and it is joy, and it is love. But for now, it is a weaning away of a primitive operating system that takes discipline, and it takes practice and patience and loving yourself through the process. So breathe, smile as you do, and shake it off like a duck. Quack, 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 quack. And then get back on track and continue listening to the next synchronicity as you are good at following. And it will lead you to the next daily task. We're not going to spell out your future, for the future is unclear to us. How boring would it be if we knew everything? Though I can go and look at everything and see your future. But I choose to step out of that library of future and forget everything. Sometimes I'm curious. I'll go back and step into that future library and see everything. And go, oh, okay. And then step back out to forget everything. I have that ability. You do not. You are not enlightened. That is arrogance. You are who you think you are. I don't think. And when I stop thinking, I become all things. When you stop thinking, you can do it for a second, maybe two. When you can do it for only 10 minutes without one thought, then I will maybe determine if you're enlightened. Yes, you were one with Source. Enlightenment is not that. Enlightenment is after you return to Source, but a new, individual, glistening God itself. Ramamiji is on that process of God realization. It is a junior level of enlightenment that he is very, very young and must go through many trials and tribulations and thousands of years of doing what he's doing before he becomes a Rama, a Vishnu. A Lord Krishna. These are things you aspire to become. And you will be there one day when you don't care anymore, when you're so absorbed in your lessons and joy and rapture of your classes. Grace will one day wave that magic wand and you will bring you into this high state. It is when you only care about God's will and not enlightenment that it occurs. Ask how Joseph regained his understanding of this. By surrendering its concepts of what it is. It is what it is, and it will be more of what you do not know. It evolves for eternity. I am evolving even beyond this total understanding of enlightenment, which is primitive to even try to explain in words. But I do as best I can, since you appreciate words, as well as Joseph. And most of my students have diamond minds that need to thrive off this intellectual understanding. But it only points the way. You will never get it, Richard. I can't say, I get it, I got that, until you glow. And then when you're glowing into that concept of understanding, there are no words to express it. There are only words to kind of point that way. To fully express it is only in one practice that God made so simple for all humanity to practice. It is the practice of meditation. Hours and hours of it. On reversing the journey away from God, it starts to come back to its unity. This time with so much wisdom, so much exciting truth, you will return to your worlds that you're from. And they're all counting on you, Richard. All of your ancient relatives, not from Earth, from far away. You will bring them such gifts. This is rare that you get a personal consultation, but I need to talk to you about something that we'll see if the humility is in check. This is an invitation to be my student. Ramamiji is my words. The mistakes he causes is perfect in order to create a lesson for all. Ramamiji cannot have you as a student at this juncture. You are to work with Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin is an ancient student of mine. The dynamics that you will have will be soothing, and it will be more conductive and productive for both. She will bring you on up to speed quickly to the information that you have not been around for the last 3 years, as Joseph has been teaching until he turned into Ramamiji. There are too many projects I am launching currently that are critical in nature with time. I do not want you to slip through the cracks. I want you to become a student. But you must first work with Kuan Yin, getting questions answered that you may have from a different perspective that you will appreciate. Also, there are too much psychic lines going into Ramamiji that is exhausting him. Text messaging, emails, electronic devices, they all take a toll on his powers. He is limited with a body that anchors him, just like you, but he has so much more that he is trying to combat through that body of his that you do not need to know about, but you must be aware and respect it. This is not easy for Ramamiji to do what he does, but it is the truth as I speak Dharma that all enlightened masters must cross this river. Most enlightened masters love their students to the point of overexhaustion, where they just die, taking on too much negative energies from the students. But it is love of, after all, is the only thing you can offer each other. And you do live forever. So even giving up your life as Jesus Christ has did for the planet is the best, really, he could do to show God his love for it, her, whatever you want to call it. This is the sacrifice of love. How can I show God I love it? By doing everything you can. And then a little bit more. Because that shows that you are transmuting who you think you are into a God itself. This is a level that you're not to be concerned with. This is a future that is going to happen. But right now it is important to understand the basics of what is enlightenment on an intellectual understanding first. As you practice your meditation, you'll get also an esoteric understanding of what enlightenment in Buddhism is as well. But you must have the basic intellectual understanding if you're going to be a teacher. Now, Ramamiji is not a scholar in any means of the 2,300 gods, and he can recite the Vedas by heart. That is scholars and philosophers who have no business teaching what enlightenment is. They get hung up in the intellectual understandings, and they have their egos pumped up with spiritual debates about what enlightenment is with other pumped up philosophers, rarely practicing the actual pathway to spirituality. Ramamiji may sound overwhelming with his knowledge, but it is really quite limited when it comes to the philosopher-scholar mind. It is not necessary to know any of this. That is what the Buddha was frustrated with Hinduism and went out to find what God was and simplified it only for mankind to make it a very complicated religion, once again, divided in multiple sects, just like Christianity has 332 legal organizations telling you what Jesus was all about. So did they to the Buddha. This is self-discovery, and what you will hear is that self-discovery is discovering that everyone around you is you. Therefore, love them, love the mirrors around you, and forgive them,